Good afternoon, Ngozi Talk Shows family. It's Nomsa here at Ngozi Talk Shows. Find your own voice, lead from within. With me today, Grant Morel, Amanda Murray, and Nick Motichka. Hi, everyone. Hi, guys.
Hello, folks. Nice to see you.
Happy birthday, Grant. It's Grant's birthday today. How are you feeling? Are you looking forward to celebrate your birthday today?
I am. Directly after this, I'll be celebrating. I will be. And I tend to celebrate as much as I can. But yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because it comes once in a year. So you got to make the most of it.
It does. Well, officially, it comes once a year. Yeah. There's a story behind that, but a story for another day, maybe.
Okay. Do you mind to tell us the story for 2 minutes?
Okay, I'll tell you the story. It's a kind of a long-running joke with me and one of my friends, is that because, in fact, my friend called just before the show, because my birthday is so, not long after Christmas, traditionally trying to get friends to go out to celebrate just after Christmas isn't the easiest thing. They kind of just get into the new year, that kind of thing. And we'll do something at the weekend, we'll do something then, and it doesn't really happen. So laughing about this with one of my friends, we unofficially celebrate my birthday again in 6 months' time. We don't have a birthday meal or something in 6 months' time. It's just a bit of a joke, and sometimes I send me a card say happy second birthday or something like that. So I kind of unofficially have 2 birthdays a year, but all jokes aside, this is the real one, obviously. And the other one's just a little bit of a joke. But that's the idea. But yeah, I like birthdays. Well, I like birthdays. I like Christmas. I love all kinds of celebrations, really. But it's nice. But I often see it as really a reflective time, a family time. And that's the way I look at it, And it's nice. It's a nice time to take stock and be grateful. That's it. That's me. That's birthdays.
Thank you so much. Yeah, birthdays are special. Thank you so much, Grant. When is your birthday, Amanda?
It's August. I usually hide in the mountains somewhere.
Yeah, I know. I normally say it on Facebook. I'm like, it's your birthday, and you didn't tell us. What about you, Nick?
I'm at the end of August as well, actually. So
okay. So you and Amanda, you're August. I'm June.
Yeah, my birthday was almost always the first day of school, which was the worst. So kind of like Grant, like how you struggled after Christmas, right, and the holidays, to have anyone, do anything fun. For me growing up, yeah, literally the first day of school, like no one even knows anyone, and it was always a real bummer.
Oh, feel for you on that one.
I bet you were like, do I really have to go to school on my birthday?
Yeah, and I did.
Wow. So our topic today is how to motivate yourself, how to change your lifestyle. So, Grant, I'm going to start with you. It's your birthday today. So what do you think about the topic?
How to change your lifestyle? Well, you think about this, don't you? You think about it quite a lot. And today I thought, what will I eat? Will I be a good boy and eat sensible food? And I thought, no, not today. No, it's not a day for that. But of course, it's what you do in the other days. And how to motivate yourself, I think, is simple. It's your own chance, really, is to be your own rock star, if you will. You can become the legend, the hero of your own life. To motivate yourself to change your lifestyle, it is your chance to absolutely, you've got a blank piece of paper and you can create whatever you want. So you can become your action figure, if you will, your superhero. You can do what you want. And just take a look at this and think, what is it I want to achieve? Where am I now? What's the gap in the middle? Who do I need to become in order to achieve the things that I want to achieve? And I think that's a great thing, which I always ask myself. And if I want to achieve this, am I really right now? I've achieved this by being this kind of person. I've achieved this by growing and becoming that kind of person. I've achieved that by growing and becoming this kind of person. But now if I want to get that, am I still the person right now who can achieve that? And sometimes the answer is a truthful, not yet. No, you're not quite there. You're good for this, you're good for that, you're good for that, but you're not quite there for that. So then I have to have an honest conversation with myself and say, well, what's the gap? What's missing? What do I need to be better at? How do I need to improve? How do I need to come across? How do I need to improve myself, my thinking, maybe my diet, exercise, all these things? Who do I need to become as a person in order to be the right kind of person that achieves X? And sometimes it's a couple of tightening the screws, a little bit of adjustment here and there. But when you do it, you have that conversation. It's a very empowering conversation with yourself, because it means, okay, we talk about locus of control. You have an internal locus of control or an external locus of control. External was, oh, well, I don't know, I don't know. I'll have to see what happens, see what comes along. That's very locus. You're giving away the power to something out there. But if you have an internal locus of control, it's like, okay, well, I'm going to do this. I'm going to make that happen. I'll do X, Y, and Z, which will give me this. That's an internal locus of control. And, don't get me wrong. There's all points in our life when we're external and internal. I tend to prefer the internal locus of control, but don't hold too tight because you crush things. Be the master of your own destiny. Say, I'm going to do this and I'm going to go there. But be prepared that the journey may wiggle and wobble a little bit along the way, because something greater than me out there might just be steering you in a different direction. So listen to these things. Don't be like a rigid rod, but tend to make a straight line to where you want to go. But be prepared that there may be a couple of diversions on the way, and that's okay. But either way, you have an internal locus of control. You're saying, this is what I'm going to improve to get what I want. And I think that's the great way, because it allows you to feel empowered, because you don't feel at the mercy of something you can't control. You start to control your own destiny. And I think that's really exciting. And I think that's a really liberating way to live. Doesn't matter where you are right now, how bad life's been to you, you can generally, with most things, turn them around if you have that positive mindset and that internal locus of control. So that's what I say. Just look at where you are. Look who you need to become, and thank yourself for growing and becoming even better than you already are. And I think that's how you can motivate yourself to change your mindset to create a more desirable lifestyle. That's what I think. What about you, Nick? What do you think?
Well, first of all, I think what you just said is great. Yeah, that really resonated with me for sure. And I really like that, how you explained how empowering it can be once you get on that path and start making those changes in your life. And so the first thing I guess I want to talk about is just that change is hard. Change is legitimately a really hard thing for us humans. And from an evolutionary biological standpoint, it makes sense, because historically, before modern conveniences, when you were comfortable, that meant your survival. And if you were getting outside of your comfort zone, that meant unknown risks to you from your environment, and who knows what, back in days gone by. And so we're wired to have change be something that isn't easy. And I think that's something to just be aware of, is that we as humans find change hard, because for survival purposes, we've been wired that way. But at the same time, it's possible for sure. And it is super empowering, like you said, Grant, once you feel that change and that momentum building. And for me, I was just thinking about a recent change I've been making in my own life. And it's a book. I think I mentioned it a couple weeks ago, and it's the Abundance Book. And so it's a 40-day plan, basically, to change your mindset around money and abundance. And so at the beginning of this 40-day challenge, I found the activities were actually really difficult. And so what it is it's 10 statements that you have to go over So there's 10 of them and it's 40 days. So you go over each of them 4 times in the 40 days. And so you read the statement kind of and meditate on it for 15 minutes. And I found at first the concepts were it was just like clunky, like these rusty gears, just like kind of just barely moving along. And so as time has went on in this 40 days, I find things are, moving a lot more fluidly already. Just, going through them each of those statements one time. And so for me, it just kind of highlighted how at the beginning it was like, oh, this is weird, this is different, this is uncomfortable, I don't understand this. And then how quickly your mind actually changes, and then you're able to grasp these concepts. And so just kind of I guess a small example of how you can change. And if you're paying attention, you'll notice that when you're learning something new or something's brand new and fresh and something that isn't hardwired in your brain yet, it is that kind of that clunky, awkward sort of feeling. And then if you keep paying attention and keep at it, how quickly all of a sudden things start to move and things make sense. And it's those circuits in your brain that wire together. That's a Joe Dispenza thing, and I love Joe Dispenza. And it's just like that example has just been highlighting exactly that process of, at first there's not those neural connections, and then as you push through and keep going, how those connections are made and it starts to flow. And it's just kind of an interesting example. So I'll start there. How about you, Amanda? What do you think?
I love what you said about that like learning process, right? Because when we learn something new, it's really, really hard and it takes a really long time. And then once you get it, it just flows so much easier. And I see that in the classroom with the kids all the time. And I see that in myself as well, like learning something new. I'm like, oh, this is so hard. And but if you don't give up, that's when you get to that next level, right? But if you give up and you don't persevere, then you're like, oh, it didn't work. But it's like you have to keep going all the time and keep like consciously deciding to change this, right? And so I like what Grant said too about like, it's really about you. It's not about anybody else or what's going on with them. It is about you. And so last night I was reading and it's like laughing to myself when I saw the topic. And then I was reading out of this book that my friend gave me for Christmas. It's called Let Your Light Shine. And this one paragraph that I read like was like exactly about this. And it says, to be you have to start creating a new habit pattern. We use diet, exercise, physical poses, and meditation. That's where you start transforming who you are from the inside out. That's how you make true changes in your life, by really analyzing your habits, seeing what's healthy for you and what isn't. Then once your bad habits fall off like scabs, once you change the way your mind thinks about what's important in life, you realize that you are the most important thing in your life. If you are mentally, physically, and emotionally healthy, that's when you can start helping others. You can only change your habits once you become aware of them. And I just thought that was like so powerful. And it's something that I talk about all the time too, but they just said it more eloquently than I would like jumble through. But I was like, this is exactly what I've been working on too, in like a project that I've been working on, because I made these like 3 like a little book series on like all of those types of topics to like really make you conscious of focusing on what it is that you want and how you want to shift those patterns and become aware of those patterns, because so often we're not even aware of the things that we do. And one of the things that I learned in my research for this was like, we put on our pants the exact same way every single time, like the same foot goes in every single time. And if you like are conscious of that, like start to watch, start to see, how do you tie your shoes every single day? You do it the exact same way. You probably put the same shoe on your foot every single day without even thinking about it. So all these patterns are things that we don't even think about. We just subconsciously go through our life, keep doing them. But when we're like, okay, what is it that I want to change in my life? I need to make conscious decisions to do it and figure out what are those patterns that are actually keeping me stuck. So maybe that pattern is that you spend like a couple hours every day scrolling through your phone because you're like, I'm tired and this is all I have the energy to do, and you don't like pursue that creative endeavor that you actually want to do, right? Or you don't reset your mind because you're like, oh, you do the abundance book for 1 or 2 days and then you throw it to the side and don't think about it again and be like, well, that didn't work. Well, of course it didn't work because you haven't actually done the work to persevere past it, right? And in my classroom, sorry, my cat's like hitting the front of my computer and it's like making it wobbly. In my classroom, we just finished learning like multiplication and division, right? And the kids at the start are like, this is so hard, and they complain and they're like so mad at me. And then I show them these different strategies and we really like work through it and persevere and try a bunch of different ways to think about it. And then once they start getting it, they're like, oh, this is fun. And then they're like, oh, this is easy after that. But that very first part, that like part where it's like you get to where you pass that threshold that you actually get it, that's the hardest part. That's the part where you can't give up. And if you give up on yourself, then you're never going to get to that next level, right? And only you can make sure. And I even tell the kids, I'm like, if you don't want to learn the multiplication or division, you're never going to learn it. Like, no matter what I do, no matter what handstands I do in the classroom, like, you have to be the one to decide, like, okay, I'm going to try and I'm going to learn, or I'm not. And that's your choice, right? And like, I can only teach you as much as you want to learn. And so, and that's the way it is in anything in life. You can learn how to do anything, almost anything. So like, I will never be an Olympic like athlete, but I will like persevere in other areas, right? But it's what your passions are. So I think that's something that's important too, to shift your life, consider what your passions are and what it is that you truly love doing.
Nicely put. Very, very nicely
But
put.
Amanda and Nick and Grant, Grant said you have to become the masterpiece of your life. And also Nick mentioned that learning is a process, and Amanda mentioned the fears and the beauty of changing our lifestyle. Sometimes the things get in the way. We're human beings, and fear gets in the way, fear of the unknown. Sometimes when fear of change, when we want to change things, sometimes I think it was you, Amanda, before that mentioned that we never, or no, it was Nadia, that we never actually go to our heart and search through our heart to actually make our own decision. When we want to something, we want people to actually affirm what we could be, the changes that we can make, how successful they're going to be. And if our friends or family says, talk us out of whatever we want to do, then the fear comes in. And also we are afraid of being uncomfortable. And that's why we put things on the side instead of actually changing our lifestyle. Or sometimes we get tired of being tired. Or sometimes we are tired, we are scared of failure. Some people, they don't want to do things. It's like there are so many things they would like to go on a diet. They would like to motivate themselves, get into personal development and change their lives. And some people want to learn relationship skills, but they're like, what if I fail? Or what if I don't fit in with my friends anymore? And sometimes they fear of not being enough. And they're like, am I good enough? Or sometimes we make excuses. I don't have time. I really, really don't have time to do this. Or we just get busy of being busy, just get busy with all kinds of things and not doing things that we are meant to be doing. And but motivating yourself, I think you have to make a decision, like what Grant was saying, that if you believe that you are the masterpiece of your life, and if you believe that you are the creator of your destiny, and if you believe that, for me, I always say to myself, if you didn't make me, you cannot define me. And if you don't know my story, you cannot tell me my story unless you get into my story or you find out my past or get into my story. I tell you my story, then you know about my story. And I always tell fear that you fear, I know you are there. But if I want to do something, I'm going to do it anyway. I'm just really going to do it. And I just go for it. I was doing the test the other day, I think 3 days ago, for Grant Cardone. I'm like asking questions. I think I got one question wrong. And I was like, when you do his thing course, when you do one question wrong, you have to go back to the video, start from the beginning. So I'm talking to myself. This thing in my head, it tells me I don't think I can get the question right. And I'm like, yes, I can. I just need to work out where I've missed the actually answer and just put 2 and 2 together and link everything. And then I get the answer. So I just was like, I think I've got this. I told myself, I was like, okay, I got this. So I pressed the button and I was like, oh, got it. So I was like, yeah. So it's like changing your lifestyle. Changing your lifestyle, you got to make a decision. And don't think about tomorrow. Sometimes we think about the results before even we start. So yes, we know the results that we want to achieve. If it's good health, the lifestyle, I want to achieve this. But why not just get on with it and write down your goals, like how are you going to achieve what you want to achieve instead of questioning yourself and just see what happens. And like Grant, have you filled the application form, Grant?
I've filled application forms and I filled that one we spoke about. I've done that. Yeah.
You submitted it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. See? That's good.
Well done.
Yeah, that's good. So
It was good.
that's really good. So yeah, you just have to get on with things and just do whatever you want to do. What do you think, Grant? You're muted.
Yeah, sorry, I was trying the unmute button, but it didn't work on this for some reason.
Or maybe I need to go to Nick and let you drink your cup of tea because it's your birthday. You can get away with anything.
Okay.
You drink your tea. Go, Nick.
Okay. Go ahead. I'm drinking tea.
I say it's birthday today.
I love it. I love it. This is so stereotypical UK of you guys. I love it. Yeah, and so someone mentioned their friends or family, looking at them and being like, and what they're gonna think. And you put that out and you worry about all the reactions you're gonna get and worry about if it's not gonna work out. But I'll just ask you to think about the opposite of what if it works out perfectly? What if it's the best thing you ever did for yourself? And for me, so change equals fear, right? Because there's some unknown involved. And so for me, it's either you have to choose fear to push through that fear or regret. And for me, I would much rather push through that fear and work through that unknown and all of those things rather than to have just, kept on keeping on the way things are and maybe not in such in a good situation. And then live with that regret of never knowing what could have been, what amazing things could have happened to you in your life if you would have pushed through that and if you would have, made that change lasting and just taken action on your intuition, on your guidance. And that's something that really keeps me going is that exact thought, is just focusing on what if it works out perfectly? Like, why not? And one other thing, I have a little quote hanging above my desk in my office, and it says, does this support the life I'm trying to create? And so in every decision, I just try and, think about that statement. And is this something that's going to be a positive thing, this decision, or is this something that's, not focusing me on my goal and isn't bringing me towards the life that I'm seeking? So those are the things that I wanted to talk about at this point. So Grant, are you good now?
I'm good now. And I love that. I love that. It goes along with sort of similar to what I was saying earlier about, am I the person I need to be to create what I want? And what was that phrase again, Nick? What was that phrase you have on the wall?
It says, does this support the life I'm trying to create?
Yeah, I like it. I like it because every day, we wake up and we have decisions of what we're doing that day, of where we're going. And yes, we have to comply with other things, but outside that, we make our path where we're going. And I think it's worth taking that check, that compass heading check sometimes to say, what I'm doing, is this taking me closer to my prescribed path, to my goal, to my destiny, my purpose? And if it isn't, if it's taking me off it, a few degrees off, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? Should I not just recalibrate that compass and bring it back on? And I think that is a great thing you have on the wall there, Nick. Everybody should have that, I think. It helps you to understand, rather than being like a ship without a rudder at sea and you just get blown you'll end up somewhere, but it's not going to be where you desired. But if you look at it and just have to do a course correction, as I said to a client the other day, okay, just a slight course correction. The more you monitor yourself, the quicker you monitor yourself, even if you've gone a little bit off course, it's quicker to get back on course. You leave it a long time, it takes longer. So the idea is do a quick course correction by asking yourself that question. And I love that. It's a great thing. Hasn't got to be a scary thing, hasn't got to be a rigid thing. Here's the trick. It's rather like cleaning, it's rather like washing up, it's rather like all those things. The longer you leave it, the harder it gets. If you do it often, little and often, it's a real walk in the park. It's easy. So just do it regularly and it's fun. And again, it's liberating because you can have a better set of hands on the controls when you do it that way. And again, it's more liberating. It's more empowering because you feel, I kind of made that happen. That's good. Yeah, there might be a few things that help you along the way. Might be something up there helping you along the way. That's fine. But that'll only help you along the way as long as it sees you doing something. You've got to go first. You got to show you're willing. As someone once said, fortune favors the brave. You've got to see people who actually go and do stuff. So be that person for yourself. And in fact, if you had a personal assistant that worked for you, you'd give them certain tasks to do, wouldn't you? You would say, oh, can you do this? Can you prepare this for me in the morning, etc. Why don't you become your own personal assistant? If you haven't got one, if you can't afford someone, why don't you just do those things of an evening? This is going to set your life up better in the morning. And when you get up, you think, that's already done. Pretty good. That was pretty good. You already start the day on a positive. And it's easier to build a day on a positive if it starts on the positive rather than starting on a negative and trying to change it. So load the dice in your favor, my friends. Load the dice in your favor by having things prepared as much as you can, so you just simply have to turn up and go through the motions. And that way you have more capacity in your mind to think clearly, have clarity, and create more and start to get closer to your destiny. So prepare first, be your own personal assistant, and you'll love yourself for doing it. You'll say, thanks for that. I really appreciate it. Okay. That idea I got from one of my clients who actually shared their version of that. And it's a really nice thing. It works down very well with many people. So be your own personal assistant. That's what I wanted to say. Amanda, you have any thoughts around that?
Yeah, I love it. Both of you said, I was thinking about in the classroom, like being prepared, right? And so I'm that teacher that plans my whole week, the week ahead of time, so that I can kind of know, even if I had to run into work 5 minutes before every single day and had to leave right away at the bell, that my class would be okay for the entire week, right? I have everything photocopied. I'm super organized, but I also have that flexibility to change my plan whenever I want. So I'll shift things around and erase things and change it as I go. But at the start of the week, I almost have everything planned out. And so I know that if I run into traffic on my way to work, it's not a big deal because I'm totally ready. I could walk into the classroom 5 seconds before the bell and still be completely prepared for the day. And the kids would laugh at me. And they do, because that happens quite often. I'm that person that's just like, la, 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 la. I show up right at the bell and I'm like, hi guys. But it's because I'm prepared enough that I can do that, right? And I know what I'm doing, and I have the whole week set up for success. And I think that's something that you need to think about too, is how can you set your day up tomorrow for success? What is it that you're going to do? What is it that even if you have like a really tough job, what is it that you can look at in that job to be like, what's a positive from this situation? Or what am I learning from this situation, from this job, from the people that I work with, that is going to help me get to the next level, right? And if you want to motivate yourself to change your lifestyle, Nomza talks a little bit about goals. And I think goal setting is really, really important. And I wrote about that in a little bit in this one like workbook part that I made. And it says, goals are just dreams unless you take actionable steps to achieve them. If anything was possible, what big worthy goals would you want to achieve? Because worthy goals are really important. There needs to be a why behind your goal. It's for you to actually want to put that time and effort into actually making them come to fruition. So then what Grant was saying is, what tiny steps can you take today that are going to help you get a little bit closer to that goal, right? And then a little bit closer to the goal. And so that if you're always taking steps daily or even weekly, that eventually you'll be amazed at what you achieve in the next 365 days. And I'm not a really big like New Year's resolution goal setter. I'm the type of person that's setting goals all the time. And then once I achieve them, I'm like, okay, what's the next one? Right. And that I'm constantly growing and constantly thinking about what Nick said, that is this helping me achieve the life that I want to create, right? Because you're the one that truly has that power to create the life you want. Nobody else is going to swoop in and save you like in the movies, right? And I love that more and more movies now are starting to show that, where the main character is the one that's actually like saving their own life, right? And making the improvements. They're not waiting for someone to swoop in and save them. And I think that's something that we really need to shift our mind in thinking, is that you're the one who's in control of you. And sometimes that might even mean that in order to change your lifestyle, you have to remove certain relationships so that you can totally focus on what it is that you want to achieve, and surround yourself with people who are going to help you move forward. And because so often our reality is based on the people that we surround ourselves with. And if we want to grow, we have to surround ourselves with people who are growing, or people who are going to teach us how to get to that next level. What are you guys' thoughts?
Wow, I love that. Yeah, absolutely. It's what I talk about, environment. A great way to motivate yourself to change your habits is by your environment that you put yourself in. And when I say environment, I don't necessarily mean a geographical environment, although it could be. It's normally a people environment, those supportive relationships, as we talk about. The people who will challenge you if they think you're wrong, and that's a good friend will do that, you know, in a supportive way, will challenge you. But the ones who really have your best intentions at heart. Because I'm sure we've all met people who have got our best intentions at heart. We've also met people who haven't. So when you're surrounded by people who haven't got your best interests at heart, don't confuse that with people who are challenging you. And sometimes we are wrong. Sometimes we are wrong. You have to look in the mirror and look at yourself and think, am I seeing this wrong? Is it me? And if it is, course correction. Just, course correction once again, right? But if you are right and you are surrounded by people who really aren't supporting you, and what I mean by that is actually being negative about what you're doing, that's going to be pretty hard to succeed when you're in that environment. It's a toxic environment. And when you are, that's what I call it's like pushing sand uphill. Can you imagine pushing sand uphill? That'd be a pretty thankless task, right? But you put in a lot of effort in. And that's what that can be like. But if you take who you are, as long as you're a good person, you're doing the right things. And again, you have to do that ethic check and look at yourself and think, is it me? Am I being unreasonable, expecting everyone to support me when I'm really not a worthy person here? So if so, even if you find you're not, don't worry, don't beat yourself up about it. Just take action and change that. Just change it, do a course correction. We all learn, we all make mistakes. And then if people aren't supporting you, you have to have a frank conversation with yourself about the kind of company that you're keeping. Can you repair that? Can you communicate with them? Can you really actually improve that relationship? If not, do you need to start some new relationships with people who will support you? And when I say support, I mean morally support. I'm not talking about other stuff necessarily, just morally support you. Or if you really try to repair those existing relationships and they're really not fixing, be prepared to put a time limit on it and let the people know that, you know, for the best for their good and for yours, you're going to have to walk away from the situation. Doesn't need to be a big argument, doesn't need to be a big fight, doesn't need to be a cataclysmic showdown. It can just be a respectful handshake and a distancing. It can be that, and sometimes, sadly, that needs to happen. But remember, it's about being respectful to yourself while still respecting the fact that they have a different opinion. Allow them to have it, but you know what? Sometimes this is not the right place for you. How many times have you known someone who's had a boss who thinks that person's useless, they're terrible, they're no good at it, etc., etc. Yet that person fills out their resume, they fill out the CV, they go for another job interview, the same job in the same industry, but with a different company. They land the job, they do the same thing, they're the same person, and the boss thinks they are the best thing ever. It's a perception, it's the environment you're in. Some environments appreciate you, some don't. But it is your responsibility, my friends, to make that action and make that decision. Empower yourselves and take a good, honest assessment of those relationships. But don't just throw them out the window. Perhaps they just need a bit more love and a bit more work. And sometimes that's our fault. So be prepared to own up to that if it is the case. But if you've done all you can and it's still not fixing, there's a different decision to make. And that way you can put yourself in a supportive environment. And that way, success, however you tend to term success, success becomes much easier when you're in a supportive environment. That's what I want to say. Nomsa, you're nodding your head like crazy there. It looks like you've got something to say around that. What do you think?
Yeah, I actually agree with you, Grant. We have to find our purpose when it comes to life. And some people believe that, like what you were saying, that you have to have clarity and also to create more. And Amanda says that she plans her week ahead. And Nick, you said you have this quote that, does this support the life I want to create? That is a very, very a deep question when you ask yourself that question, that does this going to take me where I need to be? Because this is where I need to be. Like Amanda knows in that week, she knows where she wants to take the kids to, because when you're passionate about something and you know your purpose and you know where you want to reach, there's got to be a plan, there's got to be a system that you're going to use to get there. But if that system doesn't work, the goals that you have set, the habit, they're not there, then in order for you to do that, that's when the next question comes in. Does this support what I'm doing? And if it does, by all means, try to have clarity and achieve the goals that you want, so you can be happy. And also create a space for everything, and your surroundings are more important. Grant was talking about the environment, how the environment where we are in, how important it is. It is very, very important to surround yourself with people that are going to help you to get to where you want to be. And also accountability partner. If you're someone who is disciplined, or if you know you are not, get an accountability partner to help you to get to where you need to be. And also the system as well is very, very important. Like I said before, when you know your purpose, you know where you need to be, your character has to represent where you want to go. Your image has to represent where you need to go. Your mindset has to represent, like that's when the whole Nick's questions comes in. And your environment, the friends that you have, we can't change our family, I'm afraid. But we can stop listening if we know that, okay, my family are actually maybe criticizing. Like I have two relationships with my family. I don't mix business with pleasure with my family. I rather have a coach than ask my family. Like with my children and their dad, I tell them where I need to be, where I need to go, so that we are on the same page. And if they mourn, it's fine, but I have to make sure that they know where I'm going. So we can agree on one thing, and the children, we can agree on one thing. And once everybody knows where we are going, what I need to achieve ahead of me, and the life that I want, the lifestyle that I want. So I have to check in with them. That is this the same lifestyle that they want, or they have some things that they have in mind. So, and then we both come to an agreement, and then we enjoy life, and embracing that life as well as we go along is very, very, very important, because if you don't love what you do, why you do it anyway? So you have to love something. If you do something, at first it might not feel right. No one says, like, when I'm creating a goals, they make me comfortable. If they make you comfortable, that means you're not pushing yourself. But when they feel like, you know what, this is uncomfortable, that's when you know you are in the right path. So you just have to keep going, and until you get there. So now what I need to ask a Grant or Amanda or Nick, if someone says, okay, I do understand everything what you guys are saying, and how do I begin to take a small action if life, it doesn't make sense? If I know this is what I want to achieve, this is the lifestyle that I want to achieve, but at the same time in life, it doesn't make sense. So how do I go from there?
I think Grant's probably the right one to go to here. Go ahead, Grant.
Okay. All right. So, okay. So someone knows what they want to achieve, but don't know how to do it. Is that right, Nomsa? Have we got that right? Yeah, pretty much. You're still muted, but I think that's a yes, yeah?
Yes. Okay. And also they want to do it, but life doesn't make sense.
Life doesn't make sense. Okay. Well, here's the thing. I think when it comes to it, first of all, you've got to think of what is it you want. And if you want to achieve something big, it never will make sense. It always sounds out of reach, okay? Like chasing a rainbow, it's out of reach. It doesn't sound possible. Don't worry about that. It's a question of reverse engineering. First of all, and I find the biggest challenge is really understanding what it is you do want. Not what you don't want, what you do want. Focus on it. Dare to dream. It is your life. It is okay. Just think, what is it you want? It hasn't got to make sense to you. It hasn't got to make sense to anyone. As long as it's something you feel here, you want it. First of all, identify. Identify what it is that you want to achieve. Once you got it, it's very simple. You're here. It's there. Who do I need to become to be the kind of person who has that? So that it matches, it looks right, so that it doesn't look like an ill-fitting clothes on you. So it looks like you go hand in glove with that goal. Who do you need to be? I know there's problems. I know you haven't got enough money. I know you haven't got enough time. I know all of that. But just ask yourself the question without any emotion. Who do I need to become to be that person? Once you got it, that's there. I'm here. How long, realistically, do you have to reach that goal? Look at the time, look at the things you need to change, and take it one slice at a time. One slice at a time, go there. Because don't wait to the overall goal to celebrate, because you'll run out of energy. Just get let's say there's 20 steps along the way, just get the first step handled and celebrate like crazy. Okay, when you get there, because that will give you the impetus to carry on to the next stage. Okay. And then once you got from point A to point B, all you need to focus in is getting to point B. Okay. So forget about point A because you've already achieved that. Just get to point B. So you're only focusing one step ahead. Once you get to point B, you've guessed it. Forget about A and B. You're just focusing on getting to C. Just small, bite-sized chunks. That helps with overwhelm because the whole thing becomes like this. But just focus, and you've definitely got enough energy to get there. You keep doing this until you look at it, and you're 25% of the way there, which is fantastic compared to where you were. Have a bigger celebration when you're at 25%. Carry on till you get to 50%, another big celebration. And you celebrate when another step, another step, another step until you're 75%. This, my friends, is when you really gotta keep going. And I'm going to tell you a story in a minute about that happened today. You keep going, because there's something in human nature that tends to give up when they're kind of 90, 93% there. It's too hard. I still haven't reached it. It's been all this time. I can't hold on any longer. All of this stuff comes out. But remember, who's in control of that? The thing out there or you? It's you. But it may mean sometimes you just got to keep going when you don't. I get great results for clients really, really quickly. I've been working with a client for a while who is a really super laid back guy. So laid back that I was saying to him, so this business you've taken over, it's really not working very well. Why don't you do this? And he'll go, yeah, maybe. And I'm thinking, like, there's red lights all over the place. You should, they're warning lights. You should be really getting action. And I've had some tough love conversations with him and say, you really need to get this going because, do this, do that, test this. And he's very calm guy. And he said, okay. Just when he got really, really tough, guess what he done? He went on holiday for like a month. And I'm like, wow, what are you doing? And he said, I need to get my head straight. Okay, you need to get your head straight. And I said, I know what you're like. You do need that. Just come back. Yeah, you might have to fold up the business. They said, because nothing's really happening. I said, did you do these actions? No, I didn't really do them. Very relaxed about it. Says he didn't do them. Very unusual. My clients always do. But he's kept calm. He's kept calm and he's kept going at a slower pace, which is okay. He's done it. We come near to the end of our coaching. Today, he said, last time, he said, yeah, I'm going to speak to this company. A couple of companies now interested in working with me on the 11th hour. Come back today, they closed the deal and they're going to hit and exceed all of his financial targets. So what did he do? He's got a different approach. He just did less and got more clarity. And it worked for him. Okay. So so my point is, we were trying one method, it didn't work. We tried another method, that didn't work. We tried another method and it worked. Just at the point when most people give up, he carried on. We kept testing and measuring different methods and it worked. On the 11th hour, and he remained calm, not stressed. He did it, but he just kept going. And he wasn't afraid to celebrate small victories along the way. So that's the point. Don't give up. Keep going. If that doesn't work, try that. If that doesn't work, try that. That doesn't work. Because you can't keep getting things wrong. Sooner or later, you're going to hit upon something that works. And that's what we did with him. Even when I was saying, try this, try that. Yeah, okay, I tried this. It didn't really work. He just didn't panic and carried on. And he's actually exceeded his goals already. And that is probably the most, in a sense, the most least successful person I've had in the short term to work with, the least successful. The others have got great more results quicker. That's the worst one. But the greatest thing he did was he did not give up. He kept going. So don't give up on yourselves because it is often on the 11th hour that everything clicks and it's all worthwhile. And that is a sign of a champion keeping going because most people give up. Hope that makes sense. I wanted to share that lesson with you. Okay. Amanda, any thoughts around that? What have you got?
As I was right. Grant was the right one to go to for that. That was wonderful. Thank you, Grant. That was yeah, really enlightening for sure. So yeah, I think we've touched on it a couple of times, but I think sometimes we tend to focus on what we don't want, and you think about all those, yeah, the negative what ifs, and forget what you should be focusing on is, yeah, what you actually do want. And it's something that seems so simple, but it's something that I find myself getting wrapped up in regularly, and I'm getting better at, catching myself and bringing myself back, and refocusing, realigning, course correction. But so that's something to definitely keep in mind. And it's when you're putting thoughts and your energy into, well, when you're thinking about anything, you're putting energy into that. And when you're thinking about what you don't want, you're actually putting energy into what the exact opposite of what you're looking for, which is, it's just the wrong thing to do, basically, because our thoughts are energy, and energy is everything. And so when you're putting power into that, you're actually creating it in a sense. Whereas when you're focusing on what you do want, you're also putting energy into that and creating that. And so it's not always easy to do, for sure, but yeah, just try and remember to keep focused on what you do actually want. And then give yourself grace too. Is you might get wrapped up and get caught up in those negative thoughts for an hour, for a day, for a week. And then when you do catch yourself and bring yourself back, congratulate yourself, celebrate that, because that's huge that you got to that point where you caught yourself and brought yourself back. And then I'll just mention one other thing, and this is in a sense kind of that same thing. Giving yourself grace is that self-love portion of it. You need to, yeah, love yourself, and that's where all of your creation will come from, is once you start choosing yourself. So choosing to take care of yourself, choosing to those relationships that actually bring you up and bring you into the place you want to be, choosing those activities that raise your vibration, taking care of yourself. Those are all super important things to get straight in order to have that drive to make those changes in your life, for sure. And then, one other thing was, Grant, you mentioned pushing sand uphill. And I really like that, because in the moment I thought, oh, that's what I did professionally for a good chunk of my life in policing, is pushing sand uphill. Because you can't, if someone doesn't want to change, there's nothing anyone externally can say or do to make that person put in the work to change, right? And in police work, in the world I was in, no one's motivated to change in that moment when they're, arrested or charged with a crime or whatever. And it's, so you're literally, yeah, pushing sand uphill, and they have no interest in changing. And yet I'm here as this, force behind them, trying to like push them. And it's just kind of crazy to think about how that world works, basically. And yeah, just to realize that, and it goes for whether it's a drug addiction or an addiction to a phone or anything at all, is that change, that drive to want to make a difference, to change the outcome of your life. It has to come from within. So yeah, you just got to get to that point where you've had enough, and rock bottom, however you want to describe it, where things, if they keep going that way, it's just not what you want. You have to hit that point in order to springboard almost to make those changes, to see the results you want to see in your life.
I love that. I love how you were saying, like, in this one area that people, they have to make the choice to want to change, right? You can't make anybody else change their actions. The only person you have control over is yourself. But I also really think that, like, what Grant was saying about keeping going, that perseverance part is so, so important. But the one piece that I don't think we really, really looked at was the collaboration, because so often we can't do everything ourselves. It's impossible. Even I was reading this book to my daughters, a kid's book, and it's about like the miraculous pencil. And it's all of the collaboration that needs to happen just to make a pencil. It is like unbelievable when you really think about it, like where the paint comes from, where the wood comes from, and then how all the vehicles that need to drive to get all the pieces. Like it's like this interconnected web of collaboration on a global scale just to make something as simple as a pencil. And so when we think about that and where we want to get in our lives, you have to think like, so many people think I have to do everything myself like to get there, but really that's not true. It is so much about who you surround yourself with. And once you start surrounding yourself with those people that are continue to uplift you and continue to challenge you and continue to push you to get to that next step, what Nomza was saying about an accountability partner, that might be the most important thing that you do if you really want to motivate yourself to change your life, is get someone to hold you accountable for the goals that you truly want to do. So if somebody doesn't want to change, you're never going to change them. But if you want to change, that's the only thing you have control over. And in order to do that, getting someone to hold you accountable might just help you get there. As I know, when I used to try to go to yoga in the morning, the only time I ever actually got up and went to yoga in the morning was when I was meeting a friend to go there. Otherwise, I was like, reset the alarm. Even though I absolutely love yoga, I'd just be like, I'll go after work. But if I had someone that I was meeting, I almost every single time got there because I was like, oh, I don't want to let them down. I don't want to let my friend Mel down. Right. And so if you want to change, so say it's even like working out to lose weight or something, meet somebody at the gym, because you're so much more likely to go to the gym if you're meeting a friend there after work or before work. And that will keep you motivated to change that lifestyle. Because once you've got that change, and once you've even done that for 21 days or 40 days, then you'll have that routine in that it's like, that's your now new pattern, that every single day after work, I go and do this. Whereas my previous pattern was I'd just come home and chill on the couch and watch TV and eat a bunch of chips, right? And if you're going to change it, if you truly want to change something, you have to do it for more than 21 days so that it becomes your new subconscious pattern. That's all I had to say about what you guys just talked about.
Auntie, you said you gotta go. I think we're all going anyway. It's 5 minutes past because Amanda has to go to work. Do you have any words of encouragement, Grant? So happy birthday from us at Nkosi Talk Shows, and I hope you have a lovely, lovely day today. And trying not to think about anything negative. It's your day today, the day you were born, which is a special day.
Yeah, it certainly is. Now we'll do. So thank you for those words of guidance, and I'll certainly heed those. I will always think of something positive to say. So, words of encouragement before I go. Words of encouragement are when you want to change your habits, to create a new lifestyle, try to think of a way that you can do it that can excite you. Is that excitement that will drive you? And Amanda spoke about having that accountability, having a friend, having that support mechanism. Very good point indeed. So try to find those people who will support you on that journey so that they can hold you accountable. Share your vision share with people. This is a technique I used to use, was tell people what you're going to do. And I've done this to epic proportions in the past, and I'm not the kind of person who normally does this. Tell people what you're going to do, even if you've got no damn way you're going to make it happen. Just tell people you're going to do it, because I would feel so stupid if I didn't achieve it. I will find a way of making it happen. And that worked for me. So just do it in a way that either scares you a little bit in a good way that motivates you, or really, really excites you, because that's going to be the way that's going to drive you towards making those changes a habit. Once it becomes a habit, it's hardwired, it becomes easier. And that's my secret for success. And that's the positive part that I would like to share with you. Make it fun, make it exciting, go and change your life for the better. That's me. Amanda.
Well, one of my workbooks that I just made is called Create the Life You Want, Creative Living beyond fear and living in true inspiration. And maybe the very first step is just to pick up a little workbook that's going to help you plan how you're going to shift your life or educate you on how to shift your life. And so it might even just be buying a journal that's like, okay, every day I'm going to get myself organized, like Grant said, and I'm going to plan out my day, and then I'm going to do this the next day. And so it could be something as simple as buying a planner or buying a workbook or buying a book that's like, this is the day that I learn how to change my mindset, and just go from there.
Yeah, I love that. And I'd say if you're watching this and you are at that point where you want to make some changes in your life, first of all, congratulations, because yeah, you're a good chunk of the way there is just realizing that you want to make some changes in your life. And I would just say, just take a step, take a small step. Grant described it beautifully about, yeah, small bite-sized chunks, and just take one step forward. And then when you get there, just keep on moving. It's so worth it. So good job being here, and keep on moving.
I don't know what happened to Nongza, but
I just looked up and she's not there.
just disappeared. But
Okay, thanks guys, great session, lovely being with you, and take care everybody out there. Have a great week and change those habits. Take care. Bye for now.